welcome to the final tournament centre of Pro Tour San Diego 2010. I'm Rich Hagon. He is Pro Tour historian, Mr. Brian David Marshall. Brian, we've seen a terrific top 8, but also a terrific 3 days. Talk us through it.
Well, coming into this tournament, the big story was World Week. And what impact would it have on Standard, and what impact would it have on Draft? Basilisk's Collar was a card that started picking up a lot of steam as we got closer and closer to the event. Stoneforge Mystic wasn't far behind it. As far as draft, how would what had been a Zendikar draft format be affected by that third pack of World Week? Blue gets much stronger in that third pack. Green gets much stronger in that third pack. Allies get much stronger overall. How is that going to play out? Who would be the person who could figure it all out and put it together?
Well, 2 people pulled it out on day 1, and they were Gabriel Nassif of France and Luis Scott-Vargas of the United States. Both went to 8-0, so they came back ready to rerun the Pro Tour Kyoto final from a year ago, the first PT of 2009, but this time it was draft. They both drafted mono, LSV was green, Nassif was black. LSV pulls it out with Eldrazi Monument, what we like to call inevitability. And from there, their paths diverged. Nassif went 0-3, LSV went 3-0, and then LSV rewrote Magic history in rounds 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. He was perfect. The greatest run in Pro Tour history in one tournament, just unreal. The perfect 16-0 season. Incredible.
The previous record for wins in a single Pro Tour was 14 by Ryan Fuller at Pro Tour Tokyo. Ryan Fuller went 14-0 and then promptly lost in the quarterfinals. Luis Scott-Vargas got to 12-0 in this tournament and thought, you know, I might like to be 16-0. And he decided to make an effort to do that, and he did. And he got to the top 8, and he got past his quarterfinal opponent, Jeroen Canis of the Netherlands, but he ran afoul of Simon Görtzen from Germany, our Pro Tour champion.
Simon Görtzen, Pro Tour champion for San Diego 2010. Congratulations from everyone here.
Congratulations, Simon. That was a great job.
Now, what were your expectations coming into the weekend?
Well, I needed top 50 for San Juan, so that was my lowest expectation. But I'd been working pretty hard, and I was looking forward to this tournament.
Okay, you're a stalwart on the European Grand Prix circuit. We see each other time and again. Are we going to see you with trophy in tow in Madrid? You're going to come along as leader of Player of the Year? Bit of legacy action?
I was not planning to go. I might rethink it.
I think you should. A lot of people would be very pleased to see you because a very popular guy around the European circuit. Let's talk a little bit about today. You started in your quarterfinal against a Belgian guy in his first debut PT, Niels Vian, playing this kind of Esper deck with Open the Vaults, a lot of fun stuff going on there. What were you thinking when you went to bed last night? Were you thinking, yeah, this is a good matchup, or no?
I wouldn't call it a good matchup, but I was positive that his deck is not perfect. Like, he has to draw the right combination of cards, and the mana is the biggest problem. And we saw this in the quarterfinals. He plays only 23 sources, I think,
yeah.
And he needs 6, and he didn't make it.
So then, BDM, we get into the headline semi-final against LSV. Do you feel under extra pressure because it's LSV? You were saying at lunchtime, I want to play him, right?
I was very struck by our conversation after lunch. You said, listen, I'm here in the semifinals of a Pro Tour. I want to beat LSV. I want to be playing LSV. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, it's just, I guess, my nature. I've been playing competitively since I was a child, I guess. And I mean, he's the best in the world right now, and he demonstrated this. And it makes me proud that I could beat him. Yeah, that's basically, that's it.
So you've gotten close to the top 8 before. You were as close as what is essentially 9th, 5th place in a team event. And you just missed on tiebreakers. Tell us what it means to actually have broken through to the top 8 for the first time.
Well, it's an awesome feeling, and it's probably hard to describe, especially because I had to go 7-0 on day 2. I was 5-3, so I had the chance. I knew I could make top 8, but only if I go perfect.
It's something that we talk about, players who can visualize themselves holding the trophy. And you just said there, I knew at 5-3 I could do it. Most players at 5-3 know they're playing for money, for a finish, for pro points for later in the season. And you said it right there. That's part of the reason you're holding that. I knew I could win. That's awesome. That's a great part of a champion's armory.
Yeah, and I mean the drafting strategy and the constructed matchups both were important for that.
having beaten LSV, which to most people would feel like a final, how do you then, in the very few minutes you had, get yourself geared up for Kyle Boggemes in the final?
I didn't do very much. I just checked out his deck list. I saw I had to play another Jund mirror, which I've only lost one in this tournament. And that was against the Japanese with 4 Bituminous Blast. So I checked his list. I play more mana. I play more Brute Mates, more Siege Gangs. And I was happy with this matchup. And it still depends on Cascade and the die roll, but I won the die roll, I won the match.
One of the things that was very striking to me watching you play throughout the top 8 was that you were very even. You were never overjoyed when you won. You were never down in the dumps when you lost. How important is it to being a good Magic player is to keep a level head when you're playing under such enormous pressure?
For me, it's essential. I think there are other players that play more intuitively. They can make better plays when they're emotional or the other way around. But for me, I know I have to draw cards from my deck, and my opponent does. And if he plays Bituminous Blast into Bloodbraid Elf, into Sprouting Thrynax, which is one of the best cards in the mirror, that's it.
Okay. A final memory from you, BDM, from this fantastic first PT of 2010.
Well, I mean, no offense at all to Simon's accomplishment here. I'm going to remember Luis Scott-Vargas at 12-0 saying, "I am going to keep playing. I came to play, and I am going to go 16-0." It was just an amazing eye on history and an amazing will to win that is going to be a permanent part of this event for me.
Absolutely. Simon, we're going out around the world. We're going out to Mrs. Görtzen, Claudia Level 2 judge. Any message for Claudia for when you get home?
Well, she knows I love her, and we're going to marry in summer, so this is going to be one hell of a celebration.
Okay. Fantastic. Once again, many congratulations. A very worthy Pro Tour champion, Simon Görtzen of Germany. That is all we have time for from this amazing Festival of Magic. If you want to replay the Pro Tour final, get the deck together, take a Jund deck down to F&M. For myself, I want to play Mono Red, see if I can get those core Firewalkers out the way.
And you know what? It's, again, we saw Jund in the finals, but there were some other great decks you can look at.
Yep.
You can look at Craig Wesco's White Weenie deck. You can look at Patrick Chapin's deck, which was blue-white control that went 8-1-1. There's a lot of really interesting decks here. Hey, tool around with Neil's deck a little. See if you can make that work a little better. I mean, work better than getting into the top 8 of a Pro Tour in your first attempt. There's a lot of stuff. You know, check them out.
Rich Hagon, Brian David Marshall, Simon Görtzen, your Pro Tour champion with the trophy to prove it. Until we meet again, I am your host, Rich Hagon, saying bye.